Now, I would like to thank all the speakers and the audience. I think we had a fantastic event. We had speakers covering a lot of perspectives and a lot of people passionately giving their opinions about this industry and also what they think it's going to shape up in the future. Now, I would like to quickly end this event by telling you guys some interesting things what we are up to at VoiceQube. Now, how many of you are fans of Amar Chitra Kada? A lot of them, right? Cool. And who's your favorite character? You don't remember? Okay, who's your favorite character? Okay. Does anyone remember Supandi? Yeah, cool, Supandi. Okay. And then Kalia the Crow. Yeah, Shambhu. Yeah, Shikari Shambhu. Right. So we had an interesting conversation with Amar Chitra Kada last month. So what we are doing in the comic space is, I think reading comics is very one-dimensional right now. We read the comics from the start to the end. But how would we become a part of the comic? Let's say I want to become Supandi or I want to become Iron Man in a Marvel comic, right? So with the use of technology, we can actually be that. So we at VoiceQube are preparing an interface where content creators and these media houses can create an interactive experience for kids and even for a lot of adults because we are still into comics, right? So it'll be like a role play where I can choose the character of Supandi or Iron Man or Superman while all the other characters are being narrated in different voices. And we're not going to use Alexa's voice here because we think it's too monotonous. I know that Alexa is new, but it's already become monotonous because every other skill has the same voice. So we again are going to witness a surge in employment for all these voice artists, all the linguists. So this immersive application is going to give the opportunity for kids to live a life like a superhero, be part of the comic, and it's going to engage them to a much higher extent. Now, what we're trying to actually address is education. I think voice technology is very, very impactful in the education sector because if we see the attention span of kids and people is going down drastically over the last few decades. But when you're a part of a conversation, you have their absolute attention, right? So I think that is where we are heading at. With voice technology, education can be improvised and kids can be part of more meaningful conversations with these favorite characters of theirs. So in the future, hopefully we would have someone like Ranveer Singh or someone who's going to record all dialogues for Supandi probably. And you're actually relating Supandi's voice to your favorite celebrity. So the opportunities and the possibilities are endless. So that is for the kids. Now we are doing something for the developers as well. So if you see, we've been taught C language in probably class 6, and then Java, and then Python, and then JavaScript. So as we see, the barrier to enter programming is decreasing. I mean, learning a computer language is very difficult, while learning Python is very easy. I mean, swapping two numbers in Python is a comma b equal to b comma a, right? So we want to make it easier. With applications like Wix and all, you could probably drag and drop websites and create your application. But how about creating that same thing through voice, right? You have a screen right here, you talk with Alexa, and Alexa is going to ask you a few relevant questions like, what kind of website do you want to create? Is it a WooCommerce website? Do you want to sell stuff, or do you want to create a blog? And then immediately you get 5 templates. Okay, select template number 3. And then where do you want to host it? I have hosting in AWS. And you get it hosted on AWS. And then in probably, by the time you answer 10 questions, you have a website up and running. The other day we were struggling with SSL certificates, right? I'm sure that there is a way we can programmatically create an SSL certificate. And then you say, hey, I want to secure my website. And then boom, SSL certificate is created. Same thing with mobile apps. And probably build another Alexa skill with voice. That is what we are trying to do for the developer community. And right now, the NLP in English is near to 99%. And that's the reason why we are having this meeting. We are talking about the endless possibilities. But absolutely, we are not very far behind the time when Hindi, Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam, Japanese, German, all of these will be mainstream. And probably a developer sitting in Hyderabad would be developing a German application. So that's something which is absolutely possible and which is going to happen. Now the third point is very interesting because I think it's going to be very phenomenal if it gets executed in the way we want to. Now, how many of you know WhatsApp status? Everybody knows, right? Like who is, I mean, like in your WhatsApp status, who's the most active guy? I mean, who do you, every day who posts good morning or, you know, something like that? Someone in your family? Who is it? Your uncle, right? Yeah, exactly. And we all can relate to this, right? But when you're reading that message, how do you read it? Do you read it through Prashant's voice or your uncle's voice? Yeah, so I mean, when you're reading it, when you know someone and when you're having a chat with someone, like let's say I'm having a chat with Dheeraj, if he says something which is very typical to his conversation, right? I tend to read it like his voice. I mean, in my head, his voice is running. But why are we even constraining ourselves right now, right? So we are trying to build a social network which is powered by voice. So every person is going to have a voice profile of his own, and then even it works on artificial intelligence and machine learning. So over the course of time, after all the updates that you put, you could probably have a more meaningful conversation with Anirudh after 10 years, even though he's not physically present, right? Like how Kumar was explaining about interviews. So Interview Fox is, I have to tell this example. They've done it 2 years back. They've realized that they could hack evolution and they could give the platform to employers and also job seekers where their physical time is not consumed, but the use case is met. So we are creating a social network where people are going to post audio updates. So you go to Alexa and say, you know, what's up with my friends today? And then I hear Srikar saying, you know, I've learned about this topic in machine learning. I can hear Vishal saying, you know, we have crazy biryani available at Ahar now. We can listen to Dheeraj saying something about his philosophical view, right? So I think the possibilities are endless here again, and I'll give you an example right now. So all of us love Abdul Kalam, right? Yeah? Is there anyone who doesn't know Abdul Kalam? Absolutely no one. And how many of you have really read his books? Very few, right? But if I ask you a question, do you want to have a conversation with him right now? How many would want to have a conversation with him? A lot of them. So currently what we are doing is, we are having conversation with people who passed away through the content that they left. But this content can be reused, and this content can be automated, a voice can be put to this content, and I can have a conversation with my favorite writer, Mark Twain, tomorrow, right? So we are trying to create this voice profiles and voice social network where we've been using data again and again, but we are going to use content and again and again. So it's going to be really interesting, guys. And your therapists or your doctors can really answer your questions without they consuming their time, right? So if I'm a doctor, I can attend to 90 or 100 patients of my own without really my time being consumed. And probably if there's a complex situation arises where he's asking about certain very contextual data or probably a new symptom, that is when I would get a notification that, hey, this guy is, you know, asking something different. So I think what we are looking at is we are looking at progress in mankind, and technology is the driving factor to it. So we are very excited about this product, and we are open to ideas. The last thing that I want to touch up on is, you know, we've been talking about rural development. We have Raj who talked about social entrepreneurship and social development, right? Have you guys ever wondered, I mean, how probably the visually challenged people are entertained, right? How do we get entertained? We are reading stories. We've been reading books through centuries, and now we are looking at movies. But what about these visually challenged people, right? So we are creating probably a very unique platform where the stories are going to be told by visually challenged people. And these are going to be audio stories. So it won't be something like, you know, I've sat on a yellow chair, because obviously that doesn't make sense, right? It's going to be about things that they felt, things that they've heard, and things that they've talked. I think that it is our responsibility as privileged people to give them an opportunity to share their stories and probably listen to people of their kind and get entertained. So this is the fourth thing that we are working on. And as and when Teja comes up with more creative ideas through our think tank, we're going to incorporate a lot of this. And we want to build VoiceQube as a very inclusive organization. We don't want to keep people out of our organization. We are not here to compete with anyone, right? We all can grow synergically. The pizza is too big. I can't eat it, right? So we all can share. And on this note, I would like to thank the audience. I would like to thank the speakers and 91 Springboard, which is our co-working partner. I would like to thank the cameraman. And thank you for coming by, and hope to see you again.